Right, yeah, everything's been working. Uh, okay, so not much has really happened in the sport today. Commonwealth Games is taking place. No one cares. Uh, so, what questions does everyone have? Put your comments in the chat. I will try and answer my questions as best as possible. Just checking up, see anything's broken on the older sports wires. But yeah, no, feel free to ask any questions. Put your questions in the chat. We'll do our best to answer them. And then we'll go from there. I'm only going to stay online an hour tonight, so is what it is. I've had a few technical issues with the internet the last few days, but no, David Warner is oh, well done, mate, well done. Fair play to you, well done. Hope you enjoyed your poker tournament, and hope you enjoy the ice hockey tomorrow night in Dundee. Um, yeah. Uh, as I was about to say, the David Warner has issued his version of the apology, and he won't contest his charge either. He's accepted his ban from Australian cricket. Well done. That's well done there. How much prize money did you win? Hello, you're a hockey fan as well? Yes. So, everyone who's new to the chat, place your comments and questions in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer them. Can I talk about basketball? I have done a video on the NBA. I have done a video on the NBA on my channel. It's the richest league in the world. The which I found interesting. Um, the every single team in the NBA is worth $1 billion or more. They're the highest paid athletes in the world. My favorite basketball player. I don't really have one. I haven't really followed basketball for like 20 years. If I'm going to be honest, because I am that old. I'll go back to Space Jam days of Michael Jordan and things like that. I enjoyed watching Shaquille O'Neal when he was in his prime. Um, but I don't really have a favorite player as such. But it is what it is. I have looked at the NBA in little bits and pieces. I've seen the odd game this season, but I'm not. Well, I wouldn't say I'm a basketball fan as such. I'm just a casual observer. But I'm very interested to find out. I was very interested to know that the LeBron James for me. Um, the uh, the NBA though is worth a lot of money. They've got their highest paid athletes in the world. The poorest NBA team is worth $1 billion. So the thing is, I don't follow that much basketball. So some of these people you're talking about, I don't really follow them. This is one of the few sports where I'm happy to research and learn more about the sport. Um, but we shall see. The Basingstoke Bison thing, I can't see them moving to Slough because the Windsor Knights play at Slough. There's not enough spare ice time because Slough, um, admittedly, the Slough ice rink is nearly fixed, but I can't see them playing at Basingstoke. That rings a disgrace. I cannot see Basingstoke being able to play games in Basingstoke at that ice rink. That ice rink is uh, not good enough. Uh, but a solution needs to be found for it because um, if but the ice rink in Basingstoke is in really really poor shape, um, and it's deteriorating day on day, and it's getting worse and it's not getting better. Nothing's getting done to fix it. If they were meant to leave the ice rink 2 years ago, I'm not surprised that the ice rink has been deteriorating for a long time, and Planet Ice have not done enough to keep it up to standard, really, safety standard at least. And when I say safety standard, I mean, let's say you or me want to go ice skating, or you want to, do some ice hockey training. What I've read in the local media, and I went to an away game at Basingstoke in December. And what I was reading in the local newspaper, I read some news articles, I did some research on the issue because I was told by the Bracknell Supporters Club to expect a very cold ice rink to wrap up warm, and that the boards were wonky. And when I got there, I was amazed that they'd understated how bad it was. The thing is, the land's been put in for a planning application, which gets very, very complicated. Probably not. He probably can't spell. I'm around to 96. But with Planet Ice Rink and Basingstoke, all that land around it is being redeveloped soon. Plans are being submitted. There isn't an ice rink on there. I think the council completely mishandled the situation, but the council can't do anything apparently because Planet Ice own the building. It's complicated property law. I'm not going to bore you to death with complicated property law, but long story short, the building is not up to standard. It's falling down. It's in a terrible state, and I don't know how long it can continue. Growing up, it was the Chicago Bulls, but I don't have a favorite NBA team. I probably, if I was going to follow a team, it would be the Raptors. But I don't have a team in that I follow in the NBA. It's not one of the leagues that I follow a lot of. I do videos on it, and I can do videos on it, and I can research and stuff. It's just not a right, Jonah. I'm going to have to take some notes here of individuals because I don't follow the NBA really. Let me just take some notes down. Jonas. Right. That's something for research. Cool. But I don't really follow the NBA. I know you want to Alonzo Ball. I'll have to research this. Alonzo. Just gives me some video research. I don't know how popular the video will be on the channel, but I'm happy to research it and have a look at, Oh no, I do know the person you talk about. Yeah, his dad is mental. I've heard a bit about Lonzo Ball, and I've heard his dad is a bit of an eccentric, and that is something that I'm happy to look at. But basketball is not a sport that I know loads and loads about. I know something about, but it is an interesting league, and I'm happy to do a bit of research over the next few days and over the weekend and come up with something that I think can do it justice. Yeah, I've heard he said things to LeBron James and stuff. You get characters in sport, and some of these characters will divide opinion and split, and be very divisive. Or you get these characters which are complete mavericks. Normally, it's the professional athletes themselves, not their parents. But in this case, we can go for this guy being an absolute maverick. One day they will make films about this and write books and do TV documentaries, and then because they're such enigmas for what's going on. But because I don't know that much about the NBA and basketball, I know I've done a video on the NBA and basketball, but I'm not someone who knows a lot about that league and basketball in general. It's not a sport that I follow a lot. There are other sports I follow more. There are other leagues I follow more. So forgive me if I don't know a lot about teams, etc. But I'll be interested to see what other sports you're interested in, what other questions you have, because I'm more than happy to answer them. Yeah, it was only a shorter little live stream tonight because I have a few bits and pieces to do this evening. But I'm more than happy to research some videos on the NBA and research about Lonzo Ball and his crazy father. It's just something that I don't know much about, apart from that Lonzo Ball's dad is completely mad. Right, that's a bit more video ideas. We're racking them up. But any other questions? Any other questions? Any sports you want to talk about? Any more sports you want to talk about? Because I don't know how interested you guys will be in cricket, or how interested you guys would be into ice hockey or rugby union or football, rugby league. What's my favourite sport? It's a good one. I've played a few sports in my time, and I've watched a fair few sports in my time. I would say ice hockey and rugby league are my favourite sports. I've played rugby union. I've played football. I've played field hockey. Played cricket. But no, I enjoy watching ice hockey. I think that's probably one sport I do enjoy. And I did used to play rugby for my local rugby club. Not non-league football, I can tell you that. But no, I used to play football, like in goal. I was a goalkeeper. But I enjoyed rugby more. I enjoyed cricket more. And it is what it is. But I played rugby for my local rugby club for a while till I got injured. So I've tried my hand at a fair few things. But no, ice hockey. I've been watching ice hockey since I was 3 years old. I've been watching ice hockey for 25, 26 years. So a bit of that. Okay. I'm not one of those football players, I can assure you that. But it is what it is. I do believe that. Well, I mean, I've had a few concussions in my time, and I've had a few neck injuries and ankle injuries and knee problems, so can't play it anymore. But it's definitely a fun game to take part in, and it's a fun game to. Okay, the internet's playing up again. Right, basically, I playing rugby. I had a couple of concussions. I've done my knee ligaments. I broke my ankle, dislocated my ankle. I've torn me thigh muscle, pulled my groin, broken my nose a couple of times. So rugby was fun. Yeah, got a lot of pain, no gain. I enjoyed playing it though. I found it challenging in a good way. Would I happily go back in training if my body could hold up to it? Yeah, but I haven't played for 7 years and my body is falling apart. But it is what it is. Hello to the new guys who've all joined the chat. It's only going to be a short live stream tonight. I'm only going to do it for until 9 p.m. UK time. It's got things to do tomorrow. But anyway, keep your questions coming. And video ideas. Yeah, I mean, hello. No, video ideas. I'm interested in. I've been asked to do a video on Serie A football. I know that much. I'll write that down. Let's go on the list. But no, if you've got any more questions to ask, I mean, Man City's defeat to Liverpool last night was interesting. Imagine football and rugby. Well, you see, I actually played football before I played rugby, and I was a goalkeeper, and I played rugby after, and I enjoyed it more. Um, but no, most football players, I think they're overpaid, um, and they are play actors. So hence why Billy Jones has become a very good actor, except he was a hard man. Um, but no, it's interesting. Well, to be fair, yes, I had about five. Well, I had about 12 attempts at live streaming last night. The internet wasn't very good, but uh, I yeah, I'm not going to stop growing my beard anytime soon. Although I have to admit, I do have some job interviews lined up, so it might have to be shaved, and then I might have to grow it again. But my favourite colour of the alphabet. How can you have a favourite colour of the alphabet? That just makes no sense, really. Yeah, the internet is sort of working for now. When I say working for now, I mean let's not touch anything. If the internet goes off, then we have problems. Will I grow my beard for the playoffs? I will try and grow my beard for the playoffs. But I have some job interviews lined up, so the beard might have to be shaved and then regrown. But I haven't shaved for a little while. It's getting there. It's not quite a Patrick Laine beard yet, but it's getting there. And yes, Casey, I'm back in the original room. Nothing has stopped working tonight, so the internet's working tonight. Everything's working well. What have you got? It's just a random baseball hat my mate gave me. My mate gave me this for my birthday a year or so ago, and it's just a random baseball hat. It has no other purpose apart from just to keep my hair under control. But yeah, I've got loads of stuff lying around. I've got my hockey puck collection, hockey masks, all sorts. But yeah, no, I will grow my beard for the playoff run. But if I have a job interview, it might have to come off and then be grown again. I might neaten it up for a job interview and just give it a little, neaten up. Because one of my job interviews, I'm going for a customer-facing retail role, so the beard might have to come off. Depends what I can get away with. If I can just neaten it up and go to a barber shop, I might be. Famous last words. Um, I don't know what you. I've charged my purpose on it. Yes, good, good. The live stream isn't staying on too long, mate. Don't worry. You won't use that much battery. You might use about 5-10%. It's not going on that long. But the Rangers fan channel, he did have a poker tournament today, and he came third out of about 8 people. So let's give him a round of applause. I did play a little bit at school, and I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't my sport, and it the school gave us a choice of secondary sports to play, and that was one of them. And I tried my best, but just didn't enjoy it. Not that like I'm knocking the sport; it just wasn't a sport that I could get on with. I didn't enjoy playing it. I don't mind watching it as a casual fan, but playing it, I didn't enjoy playing it. That's not to say it's a bad sport. It's just I just didn't enjoy playing it. Um, but I'll happily watch it. Famous last words, yes. Ah, yes. No, the internet is working. The room is all in one piece. Nothing's fallen down. Nothing's broken. That's good. Normally something breaks by about now. So yeah. But no, any more questions? I mean, what's it? Is Anna Hersey the most interesting? I find that is mad. Someone that young is competing in a international event. She should be at school. I know it's school holidays over here in the UK, but she's 11 years old. That is insane. Um, I've heard of like some gymnasts being like 14, 15 at the Olympics and things like that, but I've never heard of an 11-year-old competing at senior level. That is madness. He's obviously good enough to compete at international level, but there's got to be a limit with where you've got to go. That's too young. Um, and over here, the coverage of the Commonwealth Games is I haven't seen them. I know she won her first match, and it's made a bit of news, but it hasn't really. The Commonwealth Games has been very poorly reported, and the coverage is a bit naff over here. I don't know. I don't know why it is. I don't know why. Like, it is. And I also don't know why the Gold Coast has got to host it, and in this time of the year, everything's a bit like mad about the Commonwealth Games. It's come too close after the Winter Olympics, and no one's really bloody watching it apparently. But an 11-year-old playing at international level is stunning. Talking about sunglasses, one second. Sunglasses. That's better. That's better now. Excellent. We have someone from Manitoba. Hello, Manitoba. Hello. I'm assuming it's Winnipeg. Yeah, I got these sunglasses off a friend, so yeah, I thought I would put the Jerry Rafferty sunglasses on. But for those who've been following cricket, David Warner's finally given his press release. His my hat collection. Oh god, of course, where all my hats are now. Oh shit. Oh. One, my hat collection. Bugger. Hat collection. Right. Okay. Hat collection, yes. We have one Winnipeg Jets baseball cap. We have one Major League Baseball minor league affiliate baseball cap. Now, for Casey, as he has been to our delightful arena, we have a Blue Smokehouse snapback, one at a game of ice hockey. Okay, what else? Remember, no fear. Snowboarding hat. Gotta have a snowboarding hat, all times. Gotta have an ice hockey beanie. Gets cold inside. Oh God. Gotta have some Yankees. Gotta have a bit of Juve. You gotta just have a Croatian hat. You just gotta go mad and have a bucket. Let's wear the bucket hat. Yeah, we're wearing the bucket hat. We'll wear the bucket hat. And you gotta have an ice hockey family. Hey, when you live in Italy, you gotta buy something Italian, I tell you. Right. So yeah, there's my funky hat collection, and now I'm wearing one. Sod it. Let's be all Croatian. Yeah. Right, I'm wearing my bucket hat. I'm not giving. No, these are my hats. They're not being given away. They're mine. I'm not giving them away. I'm so not giving my hats away. That's taken a long time to collect, and some of them. I mean, this one you can only get in one. This one here you can only get in one shop in the mountains, and I'm not even sure they make it anymore. Mine. Yeah, I've got my snowboarding hat. I haven't worn that in a while. That's expensive. Found that on a mountain. This one I found in a building site. Yeah. Hockey stuff. Gotta have some hockey stuff. I think I've gone mad. Right. I'm wearing. But yeah. Hey, you want something random? I thought. I mean, I could do the hockey jersey collection. I mean, I've got a few of them. I've got shit all over the place. Right. But yeah. So I've done my hat collection. Done my hockey jersey collection. Done my I've done my sports shirts collection. So that's the hat you're gonna. No. I have seen Juventus play when they came to Melbourne. Well, that's interesting. The pre-season friendlies, no. The thing is, with pre-season friendlies, they're very interesting where they play them. A lot of these pre-season friendlies are played in non-traditional football, soccer markets, and to me, I find that interesting how they try and grow the game with pre-season friendlies. Yes, I am mad. Maybe this should be my new logo for YouTube. But ow, my nose, ow. But no, I find it interesting. When the big European clubs play their friend in um, and in like Australasia and Asia, the non-traditional football markets, I find it very interesting. Yes, these football clubs do tend to do their team photos in front of certain things. Excuse me. Oh, somewhere in this house there is a 1977 to Glentoran program, and I've got to find it. It's my program collection that I've got in the loft. I've got to find it. But yeah, no, none of my hats have been given away. None. They're all mine. Many years of collecting there. But it's interesting. I'm now wearing a crazy bucket hat, sunglasses. I look like I'm on something. But yeah. Any other questions? Because I've got some video ideas written down. So I've got a lot of video ideas written down. Oh god. My favourite movie. You might be a bit too young to watch it. I think. I don't know. Favourite movie. I've got loads of films. Loads of films. Shit. Favourite film. What have I got over there? I've got loads of films. I'm looking at my film collection. Favorite film? Goodfellas. Oh, bloody stupid thing. Won't time. Yeah, my favorite film is Goodfellas. That's my. Uh, that's my favorite film is Goodfellas. What's not like Goodfellas? I've got loads of films that I like. Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, the original. A number of James Bond films. But no, I've got some good video ideas. So let's have a look at some of these video ideas. But no, I've got a lot of video ideas to do, a lot of research. I've done that. Nice research done. Welcome to 20. Video research to do. So yeah, keep those ideas coming for videos and stuff. But what's everyone's favourite sport? And then ask me some questions. No, it's something like gardening. Fair enough. But no, what's everyone's favourite sport? And it gives me an idea of what to talk about for the next half an hour, because I'm very interested to hear what your favourite sports are. And you've never seen Goodfellas? Yeah, it's based on a true story. Damn good film. But this is a sports channel, not a film channel. I'll have to set up a film channel as well. Although I have seen Ready Player One. Do you play? Yeah, I do. I do play a few video games. I've still got my original PlayStation in a box over there. So you're a basketball fan. I know Casey's an ice hockey fan. But I'm very interested to hear about people's favourite sports and what their views are on certain issues within their sport. Gives me an idea of what to talk about. But if you are a basketball fan, the referee match betting scandal. I forget the referee's name in the NBA. About 10 years ago, a referee was found to be fixing matches and betting on matches, and there was links to organised crime. That's a very interesting story, and the malice in the palace as well. They're two very interesting incidents in NBA history in the last 20 years. I can do, I'll do a video on malice in the palace. Malice in the palace. NBA betting scandal. Giving myself video ideas here. But no, I'm interested to see what questions you have in regarding sports that you may not know a lot about, or my views on certain things. So hit me up with some more questions. But no, film is good, fellas. Video games, yes. I play a few of them. I play GTA, the GTA series, Call of Duty. I played Battlefield. I don't enjoy Battlefield as much as Call of Duty. Um, it's interesting, but I don't really enjoy anime as such. I'm not an anime fan. I don't mind watching it, but I'm not an anime fan. But this is a sports channel. Stop distracting me with social things. It's evil. But no, I'm interested to what sports questions you have. Um, I'm interested to hear what sports questions you have because I've got some more video ideas that I can do. Um, don't worry, I know a 35-year-old man who has a life-size SpongeBob SquarePants figurine and a lot of posters and has a thing for SpongeBob SquarePants. He's my ex-brother-in-law. He's a wanker. Now, the 2K games I think are actually better quality than the EA Sports. I think EA Sports is not as good as they were 10 years ago. I think the 2K studio is actually quite good for sports games. And next year I might buy my games from 2K rather than EA Sports. I've just gone off. Can I say Donnie Darko is a good film. Sumo wrestling. I can look into corruption, sumo wrestling and corruption in the sumo. Of course, I can. That is interesting. But yeah, no, sumo wrestling. Yeah, they do. It's the same as in a boxer. In boxing, a fighter going down in the fourth round. No, he has to go down in the fourth. Yeah, any sport in Asia is exceptionally fixed. Sport in Japan, Taiwan, Korea, Southeast Asia, China. The Chinese Football League is completely corrupt. And the attendances at stadiums are very, very low. And that's why the fixers are going into cricket and the Western leagues to fix matches. A lot of organised criminals based out of Singapore and India and China and Hong Kong are endemically fixing matches. It's been going on for a while, and it's endemic. So yeah, sumo wrestling. They did suspend the sumo wrestling sport in Japan for a whole year. Pen collection. Well, I've got my Bracknell Bees pen. I don't know if you can see that. I've got my Bracknell Bees Ice Hockey Club. I have God, Jesus Christ, it's shit. And I nicked loads of pens from work. My old job. I've got hundreds of these. I nicked about 40 or 50. And then from another previous job, I've got about 30 of them. Yeah, anything stationary ends up in my house. Thank you for subscribing. I do appreciate any support. In the last week, we've gained about 100 subscribers in a week. It's gone mad. Hey, everyone's got a bucket list. My bucket list is a little bit inappropriate for this channel and for the age range of the channel. I've done some very interesting things on my bucket list. We're not going to go into anymore. I will do a video on sumo wrestling because the corruption in it is really interesting. In 1945, Japan obviously was destroyed after World War II. The cities were in ruins, so they suspended it for social reasons. They suspended the sumo wrestling league and the sport because it was a national emergency and the country was at war. That did not happen again until 2011. And yeah, matches are fixed. Big thing with match fixing in sumo wrestling. Big thing. And it's maybe one of those sports where to cheat in Japanese society is very, very well. It's not really allowed, and it's not very accepted. So sumo is interesting as a culture. Yeah, but because of the cultural aspects of sumo wrestling, when they found out the amount of match fixing in competitive sumo, it was a great dishonor to the sport and to the country. And the league investigated and found that not every match, but loads of matches have been fixed over many years. And the cultural dishonor and honor is a very important thing in Japanese culture. My aunt's Japanese. Yes, my aunt's Japanese. Um, it, honor and respect in Oriental societies is paramount. It's one of the main pillars of their society. You respect your elders, you respect your cultural institutions. And when they found out all this cheating was going on, it was a very big black mark against the sport. And they had to give a public apology where they had to bow their heads and apologize to all the sponsors and the athletes who didn't cheat. And they were very shamed. My sock collection, I have many socks. I'm wearing a pair now. Got a hole in my sock. No, my uncle married a Japanese woman, and she's very, very lovely. And I have two lovely cousins who are half Japanese, half English, and they look Filipino. Um, they get racially abused in London for looking Filipino, but they're actually half Japanese. It's very interesting. But no, I have got lots of Japanese stuff. I might try and find my Pokemon cards in a minute. But no, sumo wrestling's a video I will definitely have to do something on. It's an interesting sport, very interesting sport. And there are it's very similar to boxing in the fact that it has weight divisions and it has the same issues as boxing with match fixing. Boxing has match fixing problems as well. But I will do a video on the sumo wrestling match fixing. Fix. Cool. Right. Well, I've played a few Japanese sports, gateball, croquet, golf, and snooker. I've never heard of gateball either, so let's write that down. Gateball. I think they might have nicked it from 3 other sports and just put it together because they're Japanese, and the Japanese come up with some really insane things. The Japanese are interesting people, and they will invent stuff from other sports. We made it, and yeah, they do gateball. But no, Japan's a very interesting country. Very, very interesting country. Oh, look, it's Japanese. It's going to be interesting. It's like their nightclubs or arcades. Come on. I'm going to stop it in a bit, but it depends how many questions you guys come up with, how long the stream lasts. I mean, if you want to keep going for longer, I can go longer if you want. There was a lot of big Japanese communities around the Pacific outside of Japan. And over here in the UK, in London, there's a very big Oriental, Japanese, Korean, and Chinese community. There's a big community over here in the UK, in London, and they're a very interesting bunch of people. They are completely wacky. They're completely mad, in a good way. It's mixed rather well, and we learn things from them, and they learn things from us. Very interesting. The stream will last as long as you guys want it to. I was hoping to do it for a minimum an hour. The internet's holding up, which is a start, because normally my internet's decided to explode by now. And we'll keep going until you guys get bored, or I want to go to the pub, and I do want to go to the pub tonight, earlier than I did last night. But it is what it is. Can you cover Chinese next? Chinese what? What Chinese sport am I going to look at? Because I could look at the Chinese Football League and how corrupt that is. I mean, China is an interesting thing because it's an interesting country for sport because it's basically a sports factory of young kids basically being put into academies of gymnastics, rugby, football, ice hockey, athletics, rowing. They're putting all these kids through these regimented like barrack block academies for sport, and they're just churning out sporting robots. But no, China's got a big issue with match fixing and corruption in sport, and it's a problem that they've had for a very, very long time. But hello, we're going crazy tonight. We're wearing a crazy hat. I've become Croatian for half an hour. But no, interesting to see what they're trying to. It is interesting. They've obviously got a lot of the tour events, and it is interesting. I'm not sure whether yeah, Lina, good tennis player. The interesting thing with China is they're just based at the moment, just got a production line of kids going through these sports academies that are very regimented and very, very um, strict. They're literally like concentration camps. They get the kids from a young age and they basically um, give them the basic education, and then they get selected for a sport they seem decent at. So ice skating, football, tennis. And they have to do 12-hour days from like the age of 8. It's insane. The Chinese really, they're pumping loads of money into youth sport development. Admittedly, it is terrifying what they're doing. These kids are basically from a very young age in these regimented, barrack blocked boarding schools, and they're doing it. But the Chinese have been doing it for the last 20 years. They've heavily invested in westernized sports, and they're churning out um, cricket. What's that? CWG. What's CWG? Cricket. Uh, um, yes, the Chinese sports program is exceptionally very similar, um, very similar, and it's disturbing. Because over here in the UK, the Commonwealth Games is not getting a lot of great press coverage, and because it's in Australia, the timings we have to wake up in the middle of the bloody night. We have to wake up at like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, UK time, to watch the Commonwealth Games. It's interesting the time of year it's taking place, which is April, too soon after the Winter Olympics. Um, and there's 11-year-old talent. That's a bit wrong. I think this is where we have to draw a line where there's a minimum age of being able to compete. There has to be a minimum age of level, age restriction on competitors, because 11 years old, that is for me far too young to be um, put out under a press situation like that. I feel that'd be very, very bad for them if it all goes wrong. Pokemon battles, no, I don't do. I used to collect the Pokemon cards. I'm not a The thing is, the parents get all the money. The parents get all the money. If you got a child prodigy, a child talent, be it in sport, music, acting, the parents get all the money. Um, the parents get a hold of their rights until they reach the age of being able to pay tax or majority, depending on the country. So in the UK, it'd be 16. She can start getting paid as a professional on a entry level contract. I find it disgusting. I don't feel it's right. If that young kid gets battered in every game and loses really, really badly and gets really upset, 1.72 billion people around the world could be watching her have a complete meltdown in on TV. That's not right to me. That's got to be something that would concern me. If I was that child's sibling or relative or parent, I would be deeply concerned at having an 11-year-old. But clearly, she's good enough to play against adults. But I think there has to be a minimum age thing, because there was that Romanian gymnast who was 14, 13, 14, and won all the gold medals. Let's go through this. Skyrim, yes, I have played it. I have played Fallout, but with Bethesda games, when glitches happen, it drives you insane. I do play it occasionally. I used to have it on Xbox, but I sold it. But I'm waiting for like the next type of game. Like, I started playing cricket professionally, and yeah, his father did make sure that he was looked after and it was all appropriate, and that he wasn't taken advantage of. That's another issue. He's taking advantage of these young athletes, and we had questions raised before about the age of athletes and competitors, and especially when they're very young, having a lot of money thrown at them as well, and getting signed to contracts and not understanding agents' fees and being taken advantage of, or having all this money thrown at them and doing silly things. We have to look after especially the younger up and coming at all. But Well, I did know Sachin Tendulkar's dad did was there when he did his first contract. No, I don't play Minecraft. My little brother does, but I don't. Minecraft is just not my thing. In fact, my cousin does as well, but Minecraft's not my thing. I just can't get into it. Um, how have we got onto computer games and films? I mean, really, sports channel. But no, Sachin Tendulkar. I did know about his dad being there when he signed his first professional contract. Um, well, here's the thing: table tennis is it's more the fact that it's just her age. It's terrifying that she's 11 years old. 11. Um, with with the young athletes, so we have to be very very careful about how we develop them, how they're brought into the sport, how they're looked after when they're there. Um, um, so many young athletes have gone off the rails and have had very colourful private lives, and a lot of young athletes burn out and then they haven't got a career afterwards. They haven't, done very. They say they haven't been great at school. Sports their thing. That's what we're. That's what I worry about. Yeah, we've now this has been discussed just before you joined the 11-year-old tennis table. Yeah, I am deeply concerned by her age and being out there. That to me is a worrying thing. Obviously, her parents would be out there with her, but um, I think that's too young to be out competing in competitive sport against adults. That is that's the worrying thing. I mean, table tennis. The Chinese are very, very good at table tennis, and so are the Taiwanese and the Koreans. But I know, not in all seriousness, if she's the best there is, that's a worrying thing. Um, after last night, Salah is an underrated player by far. But Man City, because I had live score going, they were absolutely hopeless last night. I had the live score up on; it was all over by half time. Um, And someone raised the question: should Guardiola be sacked because Man City have lost a game? They've only lost 4 games all season. That's the fourth game they've lost this season. One guy raised the question: should he be sacked? And I felt that was mad. But Salah is an absolutely exceptionally underrated player. It's a pity he went off injured last night. No, City just can't defend. It's not cannot defend. Just because they've been winning games left, right, and centre. Edison, the goalkeeper, has only been brought in this season. Vincent Kompany's missed a lot of games. He's barely ever fit. John Stones regularly. If you watch John Stones in the England friendlies, he was hopeless. He was absolutely hopeless. And the press were like, no, he just made a few errors. No, those errors were critical errors. Otamendi's cannot defend. Really, he has no spatial awareness. Kyle Walker is overrated and overpaid. And they're missing Di Michaelis. They're missing Zabaleta, and they're missing Kolarov. 3 very experienced defenders in that back line with Vincent Company. They've let them all go, and they can't defend. So, all because Pep Guardiola is obsessed with playing out from the back. He doesn't have a plan B, and that was proven last night. Pep Guardiola does not have a plan B. Should he be sacked? No. Should he have kept hold of Di Michaelis, Kolarov, and Zabaleta? Yes. I don't understand Pep Guardiola's obsession with having the sweeper keep out and passing out from the back all the time. Sometimes Rosette is the way to go. Sometimes the long ball is the way to go, and he has a fear of doing that. He has a fear of He has a fear of his score at the Etihad. They're really in trouble. But I think away goals will have a part to play, and because City got no away goals, there's your answer. I think they have to basically try and do a miracle in the second leg. But that's my little rant on Manchester City over. I've been saying it all season. Their defence is a mess. Um, Di Michaelis had his problems, yes. But Kolarov and Zabaleta were brilliant wing backs. Very good with the dead ball. Zabaleta can run all day. Kolarov has got a brilliant free kick, gives you another option from set plays. Di Michaelis has got to a World Cup final, and he's a solid defender. He's not a great defender, but you partner up with Vincent Company, and that they were a good partnership. And yeah, they got rid of Mika Richards. Never understood that. They never really gave him a chance in the Man City side. Man City have an issue defensively, and Guardiola needs to develop a plan B. Um, See you later. Well done with the poker today as well. Well done in your third place. And enjoyed the Dundee Guildford ice hockey game tomorrow night. I hope you enjoy it, and I shall see you on live chat when I see you on live chat. Right. I'm going to keep going for like another. How long have we been going now? Oh, it's another 5-10 minutes. So a few more questions, and then it's going to be a shorter live stream tonight because I have crap to do. But anyway, what's the Canberra Raiders winning last night in a row? Yeah, I don't know the score, so I didn't know they won. Canberra have had a very bad start to the season. I will admit that they haven't started well. Um, um, and all my previews I did, yeah, forget all those previews I did because they're all wrong. I did say though at the start, before this NRL season started, it would be the closest season to call for a very long time. I felt all the teams have got stronger. But the Raiders are definitely missing Josh Hodgson. They're missing Hodgson at dummy half, and that's a problem. And I think last year injuries did hamper them, but Aidan Caesar needs to step up a little bit more. Against wow. Now Canterbury, I think were one of the when I did my previews, was one of the stronger sides in the NRL this year. So I'm very surprised by the gap in that. But no, Raiders have got problems. The halves need to perform. Aidan Caesar especially, they need to up their level. And Blake Austin needs to improve as well. I'm interested. Let's go on to the cricket question. David Warner has taken. I don't know what it is with David Warner. He's waiting a whole day after everyone else gives statements. Why is he not giving a joint statement with his other two compatriots that he got caught cheating with? I find David Warner um, giving his statement a day after Steve Smith and basically copying him word for word. It's very choreographed. It's very PR. It's very damage limitation from Cricket Australia. I honestly, he says he's accepting his bad, and he wants to be a better teammate. He will never play cricket for Australia ever again. I think he basically just copied Steve Smith's. Yeah, no, I think David Warner. I think there is a lot more to this. I know we've discussed it to death on live streams the last week, but David Warner's. I mean, the Australian cricket team has been giving me loads of video footage for me to do, and video time. It's been brilliant. I mean, even though but the thing is with this whole Australian thing, if I'm going to quickly cover the old firm, I think Celtic will win, and it'll be two. I think it'll be 3-1 to Celtic, 3-1 to Celtic tomorrow. But the whole thing with this Australian thing and how it's all come about is before the last Ashes series, in the build up to it, after 2013 and before 2017, there was the Australian centralised contract dispute, and that was to do with TV money, revenue sharing, sponsorships, and it almost and we over here in England we were loving the fact that Australia were having issues with the contracts. We were loving it. How Cricket Australia completely screwed up centralised contracts and the players were basically in open revolt. That was brilliant over here. We were loving that. Australians in turmoil. Obviously, the contract dispute they had, the players thought they were stronger than they actually were and thought their position was stronger than it was. So they thought they could get away with so much. The way that I think David Warner is holding back information because his first press release, and it's all related. His first press release, I'll give the answers in time when it's appropriate to give them. He basically said, "Yeah, I think he's hiding something. There is something he's definitely not saying." And I know I said last night match fixing, and you hope it, that has to be an open plausibility. There was a spot or match fixing there because the ball was checked 11 times. So to me, that says that if there's a suspicious, because you can bet on anything, you can spot bet on anything now. You can bet on how many wides there'll be in an innings, how many fours, how many sixes, how many no balls. See that, Casey and Dan? So I think there's a bit more to this. Um, it has come out that he was the driving force behind a lot of the bad culture in the Australian side. The fact that Lehman and his coaching staff didn't know is I don't buy that. But anyone who loves cricket or follows the sport knows Cape Town, those dressing rooms, as I've said many times, are only about twice the size of my bedroom here. So for that conversation to take place in that dressing room when you've got loads of coaches and assistant coaches um, is interesting to me. Bancroft isn't on a centralised Australian contract. Steve Smith and David Warner are. Bancroft is one of those players who's recently been selected and he'll be on the next round of contracts. Um, but the whole thing, there's something very, very, very dark going on here. And I understand that cricket has had an issue with match fixing. Sri Santh and the Rajasthan Royals, we know this. And we've had Hansi Cronje in the late 90s. We know about match fixing in cricket and we're very well aware of some of the big examples. We cannot discount this. There are too many people apologising for these people. Now, Smith and Bancroft were clearly guided into this position by Warner. Warner is led the way in this. This is basically what's coming out of the Australian camp. This is what the media are reporting. He was the driving force behind the ball tampering. It was his idea. He was constantly coming up with ideas to cheat, basically. But no, he's definitely avoiding saying something. There is something he's not telling us, the public. What's he got to lose now? He's made a lot of money out of cricket, be it in the IPL, Big Bash, centralised contract, his sponsorships. He's got a lot of money. He's a very wealthy man. So I'll be very interested to, excuse me. But he's definitely hiding something, and it's worrying. Very, very worrying. The fact he's done all his statements and press conferences a day or 2 days after Bancroft and Smith and Cricket Australia, who scored the own goal. Pablo Escobar was the drug dealer, the Colombian drug lord. The other Escobar, who lived in Medellin, for Arsenal. Arsenal need to win the Europa League to have a trophy and B qualify for the Champions League. I don't think even that would save Wenger's job next year. I honestly don't see how he can be in charge next season. There's rumours Ancelotti may be replacing him. Arsenal have got themselves in a situation because they've been too conservative in the transfer market since they moved to the Emirates. Fans are not happy with the average form of the team. Some games they're brilliant, they're inconsistent, and I think that's what winds up the fans is they can compete well in Europe in this competition, but in the league they have been all over the place. They can't beat any of the others in the top 8. The teams around them they can't beat, and they need to invest heavily in the transfer market properly. I mean, Aubameyang, great player. Mkhitaryan, great player. Sanchez, I think they're glad to be rid of him. They should have got rid of him in the summer last year. They held on to him for 6 months too long. But I can't see them beating Atletico Madrid either. I know I can't. I think Atletico Madrid will have far too much for them. They're far too experienced, and there's a reason why they are actually one of the top Spanish sides. I think it's going to be IPL's come around. Obviously, in India, IPL is 2 months of basically a summer party, really, isn't it? No, again, I also agree. People forget very quickly in cricket, and they're. You had Mintgate with Faf du Plessis last year, but cricket doesn't learn from its mistakes, and it really should. So many cricketers are, I think, are doing things they shouldn't. But the fact they had him back so quickly, nah. I understand he was the young player. He was the one, like Bancroft. He was put in a position by the senior leadership of the Pakistani team to bowl the no balls. But it was like it never happened in cricket. It's like, yeah, you've been banned for 2 years. You've been a naughty boy. Play again. Here's your big contract back. Yeah, I don't agree with how cricket deals with with it. I think match fixing, you should get life. Ball tampering, I don't know. It depends if we have to look at the suspicious betting patterns. That's the way to know if there's a fix on. If there's suddenly a big rush of suspicious betting patterns on both legal and illegal betting markets. Because I know in India, gambling is illegal. I've seen the two Escobars. I have seen it. It is a very, very good documentary for ESPN standards. It's brilliant. ESPN's documentaries normally are very crap, but that one is brilliant. About the other two Escobars. But Andres Escobar, and within 6 weeks he was murdered. It turned out that René Higuita had links to the cartel, the Medellin cartel. The goalkeeper, the crazy goalkeeper, had links to the cartel. It was insane. I think sledging. I think having the banter and the chirping. Now, I'm an ice hockey fan, so it's very similar. It's called chirping. You hear if you're ever lucky enough to come over here to the UK, I do suggest you watch an ice hockey match and you sit yourself near the bench because you'll hear the players go at each other, and they really do, really do go at each other on the ice hockey benches. It is such a funny, and warm up. Some of their banter, as I would call it, is quite funny. Not repeatable on this channel, but sledging though, the way the Australians have gone about it and some of the things that have been said out in the middle, unacceptable. David Warner making fun of mental illness is not acceptable. There are some grey areas. You have to be careful. Well, I think De Kock obviously clearly got and Rabada were very, very angry with Warner in this Test series. They really, really wanted to actually thump him, and the Australians deliberately wound Rabada up to get him suspended for 2 games. And then one of those games is the game they ball tampered in, and they lost. Something's very odd about this Australian team this Test series. I know the ball tampering happened in the 3rd Test, but they lost the series 3-1. And this is an Australian side that almost washed England 4-0, not 5-0. And this South African side is almost exactly the same South African side that has lost twice to England in the last 3 years, home and away. Something was very off with this series from day one. And David Warner is one of the main protagonists of the whole story. And I wouldn't be surprised if next year after, someone actually properly researches what goes on, an undercover journalist, and finds out what really has gone on here. Right. Firstly, Flintoff. I've met Freddie Flintoff. I've met Freddie Flintoff in person. He's a very, very nice chap. Away from cricket, he's a warrior in the middle. He's a warrior when he runs in and bowls an outswinger to you. He's a warrior when he was batting. He was a warrior when he was fielding. You take him away from the sport, the sledging disappears, and he's a very down to earth guy. I think that is funny because I think that is sarcastic humour. But what Warner's been going and doing is really making personal attacks against people, saying some very vile things that if you or I were to say in the street, depending on what country you're in, you could get arrested for obscenity. It's grey area. I understand that. Either we get rid of it completely, or the players. Well, I wouldn't say you could trust players to police themselves. They've proven they can't. They've proven that they do take it too far. Conor McGregor, yeah, he has been stripped of his title. Allegedly, he will fight again. And I've always said that Conor McGregor will fight in UFC again. He won't be able to fight for Bellator MMA promotion because he's had some legal troubles with them, and he has been very, very. He slagged off Bellator MMA, but Conor McGregor, yeah, he's had his title stripped. The other 2 fighters, the fight he meant to be, the guy with the really crazy Russian name I can't pronounce. Where did I write it down? I wrote it down. Nurman Gomedevyov, or whatever his name is, the Russian guy with the crazy hair, and another guy. They're fighting for McGregor's title. He's been stripped of now. That's the last I heard. I literally read that a couple of hours ago. I don't know how he's got himself into big trouble, but it has been stated by. It's got really. What website is that on? Because I got off the BBC website that He was going to fight again in 2018. He was going to come back to UFC. I'm going to have to quickly check the websites now. What website did you get out that information? Because 2-3 hours ago, I was on BBC Sport. Oh good. No, he's got to be very careful. I wouldn't be surprised if he's done something really stupid. Um, I think Bellew will beat him. I'm going for Tony Bellew to win that one. 100%. Last 2 hours. Let's see. Right. Let's see. Right. Apparently on here there is nothing about Conor McGregor being an absolute wally on BBC. So we're going to go try another website. Oh my god. So the Russian guy with the crazy hair, he's basically right. Okay, that is a very serious offence. What he's done. I have some American friends. In the boxing, Bellew will beat him. David Hayes passed it. What Conor McGregor has gone and done, if it is true, um, that could be classed as grand theft auto or altered under vehicle theft, and he could be in a lot of. He's getting out of hand. I don't know what it is about Conor McGregor. He's a great mixed martial artist. I have no doubt on that. He's a maverick, but his behaviours are getting very very concerning. Really one. If he has done that, he could be in a lot of more than just a little bit of a fine. He could be in a lot of trouble. Um, it doesn't matter how profile you are. That is serious, very very serious. If he has gone and done what I think he's done and what you're suggesting, I'm going to quickly check up see what else has been released on this because it might be on the main BBC website. I'm going to double check this, see what's on the news. Let's see what comes up with the good old Conor McGregor. Yeah. One fighter is in hospital apparently. So Michael Chiesa is in hospital apparently. I've got it off Bloody Elbow and MMA Junkie. Apparently he's led an attack, so that means there's multiple people involved in this violence, and it's to do with the arrival at UFC 223. And Michael Chiesa has been taken to hospital, so he is really, really in trouble because someone's got injured and it's at the media day. So someone's multiple people. This is what UFC doesn't need. This is what's damaging to the UFC brand is that their athletes cannot behave away from the cage. This is what's going to be a problem for them going forward. This is why Bellator does not have a big reach. Yeah, no, I'm reading this now. Off MMA's fan web. Happened in Brooklyn. Okay, I'm reading the article that's on this sports website, MMA Junkie, which is obviously Conor McGregor arrived for UFC 2, and he made a surprise appearance at the media day. Excuse me. He rushed into the elevator. It's all on video camera. It's all on the internet. It's on the internet now. It's on YouTube. It's on Twitter. Stupid advert. Go away. Go away. Apparently, Michael Chiesa has been injured with a severe laceration to his forehead, and he's very concerned about could he have lost an eye, things like that. Basically, it appears that McGregor fled the scene as well. He's going to be apparently supporting a training team called Artem Lobov, who's fighting. He's fighting Alex Caceres on the undercard. Forehead. Most likely would not this experiment in I see it's the whole of the MMA, mixed martial arts sport. It already has a bad rep for steroids. It already has, yeah, very similar to what David Hayward, Chisora, very very similar to Fury and Klitschko. All sorts. There was all sorts of um, goings on before and after. Um, but yeah, there's a gang of his entourage were involved. I don't think their drugs testing policy in UFC is very good somehow because he sounds like he's either having a roid rage um, and drug induced. As far as I know from the article I read, had nothing to do with the antics that Conor McGregor has initiated. Artem Lobov is on an undercard. He's there, you know, to compete himself and to get himself up the UFC ranking ladders. So Conor McGregor has screwed his mate out of his fight, which is his payday. Um, ooh, this is now this is getting interesting. From what I read, Artem Lobov was just there being supported by McGregor, as in I'm coming here to support my friend for his upcoming fight, which I have no issue with in itself. But with if that is true, then they could get banned from the sport for life or thrown off the UFC roster. Bellator won't touch them. Bellator's got its own problems. It'll probably be mainstream tonight. It's Conor McGregor. He now is a well-known public figure. I don't know why they're going after this other guy though. It's the fight's got nothing to do with them. McGregor's. I think this is in response to having McGregor having his title stripped of him yesterday, which broke this morning. Um, I've never really spoken much about UFC on my channel, but I might as well now. Conor McGregor's out of control. He really is. I don't know much about Artem Lobov. I don't know much about his training partner, and I've heard bits and pieces about Khabib. I can't pronounce Khabib's surname. I'm not even going to try to. Um, I haven't really followed MMA for a long time. This is really this is why I don't like MMA. This is why I don't like UFC anymore. It's got to the point now where there's it appears all out of control. It's the whole sport. This is what the organisers don't need, and they're both Russian, so there's organised crime involved. This is brilliant. This is going to be an intro. I'm going to have Conor McGregor. I'm doing a video on Conor McGregor tomorrow. I'm doing a video on this tomorrow. I'm sorry, I have to because Conor McGregor's really gone and okay. All I can think of is well, basically Conor McGregor's had his title stripped because he hasn't defended it. Although the guy who runs UFC has now stated that Conor McGregor, until obviously today's antics, because this is all just breaking in the last hour, and we were all finding out about it from different websites and for different sources. Conor McGregor had his title stripped. That was broken on the BBC Sport website 3 hours ago. That came out on a press release on all the sports pages about 3-4 hours ago. That's fine. The guy who runs UFC then stated in the same press release that Conor McGregor would return to active competition in UFC at some point in the summer or autumn of this year. I think this has got to have something to do with his. But recreationals will still come up in a blood or piss test. Trust me, I've had to do blood and piss tests as part of rehab. They will come up, even if they're not the ones they're looking for. If they're doing a test if they're doing a general test, they will come up. It doesn't matter if they're doing specific or will come up because they're in your urine, they're in your bloodstream, they're in your hair. They will come up. It doesn't matter how they test, they will come up. So, well, they won't announce that, but Conor McGregor isn't in competition right now. He's not an active fighter at the moment. He's on the inactive roster. Therefore, he doesn't have to do drugs tests. When he gets back into training proper for competition, then they'll have to test him. But the whole thing's a mess. Boxing is going down the same route. There's some real worrying things going around these individual blood sports at the moment. Really worrying. Conor McGregor is completely out of control. Completely out of control. He's not on this planet anymore. He's completely out of control. Um, he's always been a bit of a maverick, even when he wasn't as well known as he is now. Um, you've got bearing in mind, EA Sports UFC 2. He's on the cover for that, so he gets every time that game is sold, he gets some money, image rights. He's had his big fight with Mayweather, made a stupid amount of hundreds of millions. He's won his UFC lightweight title. He went up in weight division and got beaten. Right, so he has lost a few fights. He's not an unbeaten fighter like others are. But he's been doing a lot of maverick things since he's become famous because of UFC. He's done a lot of crazy stuff. Um, he seems to be out of control. And this is a worrying thing that could lead to tragic consequences. If a guy's been stabbed in the head or slashed around the head and is bleeding quite a bit, that's worrying. Oh, no, you've got to have a bit of a personality. You've got to be a bit quirky. It doesn't matter if you have an ego or you are just quirky or you are a bit off the wall. Every sport needs that kind of personality. Every sportsman has a personality of their own. Be it steely determination, or they're very open and affable, very laid back. It doesn't matter what personality you have, because you know um, you could kill each other in that cage or in that boxing ring. Boxers and MMA fighters have died. Um, you've got to have a certain bit of respect for your opponent because it's mad. Yeah, they tried to strip him 4 times before, and the guy running the UFC said no, and then this time he finally gave in to the sponsors and said, "Right, I'm stripping." But um, if I'm honest, I think Conor McGregor is, he hasn't fought for that title. He has fought since then, in the weight division above, but he hasn't fought for the lightweight title for over 500 days. He hasn't defended it. Um, he Bellator wanted to sign him at one point when he was on lesser money, and he told them what he thought of them as a promotion. Um, he is out of control though. This is a very worrying thing. I wasn't aware that we were going to end up on MMA. We've been talking about so many other brilliant or have a clean utter mental breakdown. Um, I don't understand though. Golf, Tiger Woods. I don't think he wins, but I think he plays his best golf he had in about a decade. And he showed us, and he's out there to expand. I think with Tiger Woods. With UFC, I don't know a lot about UFC and Bellator. The concern I have is someone has got to sell this guy. You really forget what's his management doing, what's his agent doing, and making money. As long as he makes them money, all his antics don't care. You'll be surprised. You'll be very surprised. I met Barry Wiggle, and he's exceptionally humble outside the ring, in a sense that he's respectful. I wouldn't say humble, I think respectful. Opportunities to show respect for each other. If they show respect, start like Conor McGregor's stuff will not happen. Um, I think you, I think the last 2 days are on terrestrial live. For the Marthas, but BBC's really cocked up there. And Anthony Joshua, I think, is one of the more level-headed and decent out there, and he is a machine. But from my experience, those with the biggest gobs have got nothing to back it up with. Those who brag a lot, really, in my experience in life, are really struggling. That's just me. It's also to hype it up for the fans and the cameras. It's all to big it up when really, at the end of the day, it goes to points half the time. There's no knockouts anymore. But there are bigger issues with boxing and with MMA and with sports entertainment. WWE. There's bigger problems with these combat sports and sport. Far bigger problems. Oh. Well, we've gone on half an hour longer than I thought we would, which is good. Right, people that needs to big needs. To, yeah, they normally are actually exceptionally as individuals, and I'm not going to make light of this, but they do have a lot of them suffer from loneliness, crippling depression, some have mental health issues. You'll notice look at the amount of boxers who've struggled with mental health problems and issues to do with self harming and being really struggling. It's the sport doesn't look after them enough. It really doesn't. And then people like Conor McGregor doing what they're doing, which is completely disgusting, and he's out of control. This is the problem I find with some of these sports at the moment is there's some of these athletes are completely out of control. They've got too much money, um, and they just lose cannons. And that's the worst person to have in a combat sport like boxing or MMA is someone who's a complete loose cannon, who's so unpredictable. You need to rein them in, and it's something that's impossible. I think Conor McGregor, I don't think he even fights ever again. Personally, I said earlier in the year that he would fight again. Russian teams do tend to struggle in Europe over the years. I wouldn't be surprised if there was also, trouble at the game with the fans. But that's one game. One game does not save Arsenal's season, but this is the only chance Arsenal have at winning silverware now. So they have to take it. They have to take it. They cannot afford to fluff up in Europe. It's the only way Wenger can have a chance of saving his job next year. Right, any more questions? Because I'm going to call it an evening there, I think. Any more questions, guys? I wouldn't be surprised if it gets mainstream very, very quickly. It's already got out on the fan websites and the sport websites that focus on mixed martial arts. It's already out. I think on BuzzFeed have got hold of it. It won't be long before it really hits BBC, Sky, Fox. When it gets on them, he's in real deep shit. And I mean that he really might. I'm going to check the news again, double check. But I think Conor McGregor's in serious trouble, and his training partner Artem Lobov. I think they're both really in the shit. It's already hit the mainstream. It's on the Independent's website. It's on the Independent newspaper's website. It's now mainstream. I don't know if you can see that off my camera. Well, why? Maybe I'm watching for and the Khabib and Matt Holloway were going to fight for McGregor's vacated title. His rant on Twitter as well. He said they wouldn't trip him of nothing. Apparently, they're nothing. So he's done that. Yeah, no, that's made it onto the mainstream newspapers website. I think he's done. It's made it. It's on every website now. I think he's actually done because I think the footage shows him actually trying to steer the bus taking the athlete back to the hotel. He tries to put a scaffold pole through the yeah, he's done. Crikey, only a year and a half older than me. Yeah, no, it's all over the internet now. Yeah, he's had it, in trouble. Right, so I'm going to do a video on Conor McGregor tomorrow morning. Brilliant. Right, any questions, guys? Because I'm going to otherwise call it a day there. I'm not surprised, really. I think it's only a matter of time before he actually completely off the rails. He's definitely on something that he shouldn't be. Drug and alcohol, most likely. He wasn't even scheduled to be there. I mean, Artem Lobov was obviously at the media day. Was scheduled to be there. He wasn't able to give any response. He'd already given a foul mouth rant on his Twitter about being stripped his title. I do think he's two things will happen. Get arrested, obviously, or he will die very early death. I cannot see him staying alive much longer, really. I'll be surprised if he makes it to 30th birthday in a few weeks' time. I really would. The guy is out of control. And this is something we'll hear out more and more as day. Tomorrow, very interesting. We'll talk about if he's been arrested or not and what's going to happen, because this reminds me of O.J. Simpson in 1990, all going for a drive. He's clearly not thinking logically. He's clearly not. This career is good. End career. Like I don't know. How, yeah, O.J. Simpson. Oscar stories. The other two big ones are something. They O.J. was accused of killing his ex-wife, and Oscar shot his missus. But O.J. Simpson went on about 14 hours in Ford Bronco, and I sat there watching it on TV. He's on the run now. That he will know. Someone told him that police were after him. It's been a brain malfunction. I think he's been on cards for a long time, since before Mayweather. As soon as he won his lightweight title and he became a three-time world champion, he doing sorts. The build-up to Mayweather fight as well. There's a lot of ticks there that make no logical sense. But please, I know he's lost. I cannot have him cut out of this, because he's apparently read on the where we can only speculate. Yeah, I think I have to be careful if I do it on there. I have to be very, very careful how I present it, I suppose. But I think I'm not surprised that UFC 223 will go ahead now. One of the fights off, and there's clearly issues between McGregor and the UFC as well. The sports has a governance on the basic side of people. That is a simple thing. He's gone out there. There's having a bit of aggressiveness about it, and a bit of weigh-ins when you go here. I think Conor McGregor is done. I think Artem Lobov is done. I don't know much about Artem Lobov, but this is not a move of a man who's planning to fight in a month's time. What happens overnight, we'll have to see. What else comes out? We understand now. Obviously, we now know that there is an arrest warrant out for him. He is on the run. His personal jet's been grounded, so he can't fly out of New York. He's on a travel watch, so if he tries to get across the Canadian border, for example, or crosses a state line, there will be state troopers looking for him. Now, he won't get very far. He's too high profile. He won't be able to go far. But we'll see what happens. He's completely lost it, I think. I don't think he competes ever again. He's 30 in 3 months. He's 30. I can't see him coming back from this, but that's just me. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you very much. Cheers for all your questions. Conor McGregor made the last 40 minutes of the live stream exceptionally interesting. And my internet held up just. When I say just, I mean it really did just hold up. And Arsenal won 4-1 tonight, so some Arsenal fans can be happy for once. And yeah, I'm just seeing which one. I'm basically this week I'm doing a live stream every day, and I'm trying to work out what day is the best day to do live streams in future, because I aim to do one a week. And I am planning to keep doing live streams. They won't be every day, but at the moment they are for the next week or so. And I'm going to work out what day is the best day to do them. But anyway, thank you for all your questions. Thank you for all your input. And I appreciate all the time you have to watch this. I really appreciate you guys sitting in and watching and giving your viewpoints and stuff. And I appreciate it. And I'll see you tomorrow night at around 8 o'clock. So yeah. So night, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.